Welcome to the Sales Masters Roundtable, hosted by Shawn Casemore.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Sales Masters Roundtable. Today, we've got the pleasure of spending some time with Chad Hunter. Chad, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, Chad, as we typically do, we're going to get right to the point and jump into the very first question, which is, what was your first job in sales?
For sure. I guess I look at it two ways. My first job in sales was actually more retail. I worked for Canadian Tire back in the day.
Wow.
And it was more on the sports department, which was just selling fun and camping equipment and bikes and everything else. My actual first, I would say, outside sales role was in Winnipeg with Weber Supply. And I went from the inside operations, and we needed to boost some sales. So I got asked to go out on the road. I studied, one product line, an abrasive, thinking this is exactly what the customer is going to need. Walked in and they told me that they don't use any of those, and don't know what you're doing. So it took me a while to even go in, but I learned a little on that one. Is go in and maybe ask some questions before you just assume what you think they need. So it's boded well, even though that was the first and big failure on that side of it.
Well, and two things. It's interesting. So I started my career at the age of 14 at a grocery store, and I often think that's what took me back to kind of learning about dealing with customers, both happy customers and not so happy customers. But I'm finding a lot of folks that have been here have some sort of background in retail. That's kind of where they started initially. And the other thing, just kind of an observation. Your point. You've been with Weber now how many years? Weber Supply.
It's basically 20
Wow.
and a bit. I did open the branch in Winnipeg, and then I left for a couple of years because I moved back to Vancouver, and then started back up with them again. So it's been a little on and off, but basically, about just over 20 years.
Wow, good for you. Well, so today you're in a more of a leadership role for the organization, which has more responsibility, obviously. And when you opened a branch, you were in a leadership role as well. What was it that inspired you to want to move into leading a team more so than just being on your own and being that individual contributor?
Yeah, I would say, I don't even know if I was inspired necessarily. I was more, I guess, a little excited about it, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do. But I knew I was doing pretty well with the sales side of it, and I'm very competitive, so I wanted to win, not against my team. I wanted to win as a company. So we were a smaller branch, smaller company. I thought, hey, the more we can, win against the big guys, I felt like it was a win for all of us. So I thought helping and teaching, and learning from other people and how they do it and seeing if we can do it a little bit better kind of led me to go more the leadership role than continue on, I guess, on the territory side.
So tell us a little bit then about your role today. We know a little bit about your history, but what's your role today entail? What are you involved in?
Yeah, so I guess now I'm vice president of sales for Weber Supply. I help look after 18 locations. We've got about 40 outside sellers, including a couple, I think it's about 12 district sales managers and a couple regional directors. I kind of keep my day busy as working with the team, probably in the office, maybe a little bit more than I want to be, but at the same time, my favorite part is getting out and working, joint calls with the team, kind of see customers, trying to solve problems. And my favorite part is actually, because we're industrial supply, is probably getting tours of our customers' facilities. It's like the live version of How's It Made TV show for us, and you get to walk around. I've seen like guitars made. I've seen water slides. All sorts of French fries, all sorts of different facilities. So it's pretty cool.
That is cool. Well, something else I'll mention to you that I've noticed throughout these different interviews, that a lot of sales leaders, some of the most fun that they have is getting back, if I can say, into the front lines or the trenches and going out and seeing customers. That seems to be a common theme, getting out of the office and away from some of the administrivia. So relative to your role today as a sales leader, then what's one of or some of the bigger challenges that you're up against?
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, we're a distributor, so trying to navigate that can be challenges because we're not making the product all the time. So we're trying to figure out what we should be focusing our attention on and things like that. So I guess biggest challenge is maybe being distracted or more reactionary than we need to be, just because the customer's got a problem. We know that we want to focus on, but if the customer, just wants a supplier and we're quoting and we're doing all this effort to get it, we're kind of at a stage now where we're looking for, we could say good business for good. We're looking for customers that want to partner and work together. And so I guess sometimes getting distracted with customers that are just, price shopping and spending hours quoting, thousands of different lines just so that they can take that information and go get it cheaper from someone else is not, sometimes not an easy message to pass along to the sales team because, they want every opportunity and
Yeah.
I agree. I'd love to get everyone, but not everyone's the right one. So we just got to focus our attention on the good ones and the ones that we can actually do well.
So it's interesting you say that. Early in my career, I had a job for a short period selling cars. I remember really wanting to sell this one car to a gentleman, but he had a very high trade-in value asking price for his car. And I went to the sales manager. I'm like, look, we haven't made a sale in a couple of weeks. This guy is ready to go. He's an existing customer. He's like, look, we're not about to take a bad deal in order to make a sale. He said, not every customer is a good customer. This is one of those individuals, unfortunately, that fits into the not so great a customer category. So I think to your point, being strategic as far as who you pursue. But I guess follow-up question or next question would really be, so with your sales team, obviously hungry, eager to get out there and make more sales and continue to grow the business, how do you keep them focused then when, not every customer is a good customer and there's probably a lot of distractions that they face? What do you find works best?
I mean, obviously communication with the team is key, but I think in understanding how they like to communicate, I think is part of it, but then really working, I guess, with them to understand and identify those customers, and then reward them on not just, obviously growth is what we want and pays the bills and things like that. But so it's, profitability and things like that, but also rewarding them on activities that I know are successful. So, if you do these 5 things on a regular basis, even if your sales aren't there today, I know historically around my top performers, they've done this. We know it works and we know that will work for them in time. So it's like stick with the recipe and, something good will come of it. So it's just trying to reassure them that, just because they didn't make that sales this month doesn't mean, that they're, in the bad books or they're not going to be successful. It's like, let it ride out and you will be successful over time. I mean, look at your green line on the back of your unstoppable sales team there. It does have some dips. And so if you're, always trying to just go straight, it's more of a challenge for sure. So sometimes resetting and then springboarding higher.
I appreciate the plug for the book.
Yeah, all good.
Hey, so this is a quick side question, but I don't think this is going to throw you off at all. How is there a structure to how you communicate with your sales team, like a frequency that you have, or it's just as needed?
I would say it normally has been as needed, and then I've started just this year by basically request from my team was to do a standing bi-weekly call. Yeah. It has a very loose agenda on it, but it really just gives everyone the opportunity to voice any concerns, questions, comments. Gives me and I a platform to, maybe bring them up to speed on some of the bigger things that I haven't been able to communicate, with everyone. But sometimes they last 5 to 10 minutes, and sometimes they go, close to an hour, depending on, who's contributing and what. It's not mandatory. It's more if you want to be there. And I actually, just last week, I realized I only set it for 6 months because I wasn't sure if it was still going to be around, and everyone keeps showing up, so I had to reset it, and so now I've set it for another year out. But yeah, so I mean, I think though that is a good one to get some comments as a group out that maybe is a concern across it. But then still connecting with individuals, I think, is the key, because some people like the phone call, some people like the text. So just really trying to, connect with them however works best for them.
Yeah, no, that's good. And when you mentioned that, I thought, hey, I'm curious on how you approach it. So that's a good strategy. Well, now kind of back to your role being a sales leader. What's something you wish you knew before you really moved into a sales leadership role that would have been helpful to you?
I guess it kind of comes down to, like, don't treat everyone don't treat everyone the same. Like I treat everyone fairly. On my team, it's absolutely, you know, open communication as much as I can, and I definitely treat them fair. But I just know, you know, I think knowing now is that, you know, not everyone ticks the same way, not everyone gets excited about the same stuff, and I think trying to use their strengths on what makes them tick is where the challenge is understanding that, and then trying to leverage that to get them to do what they need. You know, if I need certain things moved or I need support in certain ways, I've got, you know, certain people I'll call versus others, and just depends on what we're looking to do. So I think it's just really recognizing where they, you know, what work do they want to be doing, and try and, you know, give them that work and give them that support in that channel, I guess.
It's funny you say that. I was just speaking with a gentleman this morning that I was coaching, and I said, you know, ideally for somebody to be a top performer or be successful in sales, it's the combination. You know, there's many different ways you could generate selling opportunities. So it's finding those things that you enjoy doing and you're good at that make sales fun. If you have to, you know, if you don't like cold calling and your boss says you got to make cold calls, you're either not going to be effective or you're not going to last. So where is that combination of I'm good at it and I like doing it, and that's where sales can really take off. So I think that's a good point. Last question for you. Your crystal ball. So you're plugged into your customers and the marketplace and your suppliers. What do you think is maybe one of the bigger challenges that we're going to face in the next number of years, if you had to, you know, take your best guess?
I think for anyone in our situation, it is looking at adding the value and finding ways to help customers, you know, save money and things like that. Getting the product, you know, to our customer, just physically moving it is going to get faster and faster. I mean, there's already drones out there. There's already better ways to get things, you know, to customers, but it's just looking at how do we add the value to that, you know, and again, just shopping online to try and find for us like a safety harness. We're out there speccing it in. We're helping save lives on that side of it, making sure it's the right thing so, you know, for a customer just go buy it because it's cheaper. They can, but it might be more of a risk than it is, you know, worth it. So it's looking at those opportunities to say, here's what we can do to help you, you know, ultimately save money. But, you know, as time goes on, again, getting that product is so much faster. So it is just a matter of keep showing that value and finding new ways to show it and new ways to support them. And I mean, really, and solve their problem in a different way.
Yeah, try and I like how you said that about adding value, right? It's trying to help customers realize that they might, in some instances, be able to go direct, whether that's online or otherwise. But when they do so, they're going to miss out on A, B, and C, which is what you and your team bring to the table that they really need if they want to get the most out of this, whatever it is they're buying. I think that's a struggle that many sales professionals and specifically sales leaders are thinking about as technology continues to advance, and studies have shown today's buyers want to spend less and less time with sales. How do I convince them that they still need me and that I can help them make a better, more informed decision and better investment, both of their time and money, right? So I think that's a wise observation on your part. So I always like to end off, if somebody has enjoyed this chat and they want to reach out and connect with you, how would you suggest they do so?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I am available on LinkedIn pretty easily. Obviously Chad Hunter with Weber Supply. Otherwise, even my email, I'm happy to connect that way. chunter@webersupply.com. And yeah, happy to connect with anyone out there.
Awesome. Well, listen, I really appreciate your time and appreciate everybody joining us here today and listening in. And again, welcome everybody to the Sales Mastery Roundtable, where we get an opportunity to interview great sales leaders like Chad. Make sure you check out my YouTube channel for all sorts of other videos. Chad, thanks again, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. This was great. Appreciate it.
Take care.